TKAZOX on all streaming services. And there's a video. That's it for today. Don't really have much to say. I'll just let's turn on the camera and do this thing. We haven't been posting all that much. Kinda in the process of going through all my files and sorting everything out, making sure all my music's kinda where it needs to be. Speaking of which, I think I might be coming to the end of my music career. I think this project that I'm releasing, I took my last project off, and then I'm working on creating what I would say is like my just overall best work. I'm trying to put something together that I feel like is what I set out to do, and once I complete that, then I'm done with that. It's time for the next adventure. We'll see what that is. Probably more in the animation department and writing longer stories, because it's kind of something I enjoy doing. We're gonna see what we could do with that. Kind of today, just, you know, I'm here. I'm just here. This is today, you know, it's a regular day. TKAZOX on all streaming platforms. What else? Joined Minnect. If you want somebody to talk to and like engage with and bounce ideas off of, and maybe give a new perspective on something that you're working on, or I don't know, we can see what we can come up with. Right now, I'm kind of in an experimental phase. We're gonna see what works and what, you know, that's what we're doing. 24 years old now, figuring it all out. Yeah. Is there really anything else to say? TKAZOX on all streaming services. Yeah, this is, if you think it's awkward for you, it's awkward for me. But yeah, anyway, check that out. This is the first prototype. I kind of made my own, did my own little thing with it, but we got some other stuff. You know, we have Mach 2 coming soon. We're gonna order ourselves a new print and see if we like it. If we like it, that'll be coming soon. What else? Working on a little picture book. I came up with a nice concept. We'll see. I hope you like it. I really do. You know, it's my journey, my story, what we've been through, but told in like a simpler way, you know. Give it more like a pleasant aesthetic to it. Yeah, working on my new mixtape, new EP, whatever you want to call it. Took down the last one. I'm gonna use a couple of those songs. There's gonna be some new songs that nobody's ever heard before, whatever I'm feeling in the moment. And then at the end, I'm just gonna blend them all together, because it's kind of been my recording process. Yup. Don't really have much else going on other than that. Just kind of chilling, just hanging out. You know, getting more centered every day. I feel like a lot of times we don't really even need to speak all that much. Like, I'm not really much of a talker. Like, I'm just kind of, you know, people say I have sometimes, because, you know, duality and all that, I'm both sides. You know, I got a very calm presence. But I could be loud, you know. Yeah, I got a wild side. People say, you know, that's what they say, you know. I am who I am. Anything I'm not, I will never be. Just keep that in mind. It's kind of me just sharing my personal journey, what we're going through. Right now, you know, in between jobs, looking for something new right now. Still working on my creative projects. It's bubbling up a little bit. Let's see. Let's, you know, create like a video. Let's see. It's kind of like a, you know, dear diary. Let's see. Yep, that's where I'm at. Kind of, you know, just chilling. Let's see. Have I drawn anything recently? Let's see. Got this. I like this one. Reach for it. In the box, you know what I'm saying? Think outside the box. Reach for it. Can you see that turtle in the background? I actually found out a lot of really cool information about that somewhat symbol. It's, you know, it's the turtle of life, pretty much. For me, it represents life force. That turtle is like the beginning and the present. And yeah, it's like, that's like, you know how some people have like the Ankh, some people have like the cross. That turtle would be like my version of that somewhat. I don't know if that makes sense, but you know, we'll go with that. Because I'm from Florida, right? And never knew my parents. Okay, I guess this will be a therapy thing. Okay, let's get into it. I never knew my parents. For a long time, I felt like an alien. You know, foster care system moving around all the time, you know? And so that kind of, in my later years, developed into me still trying to find home. And, you know, I'm still going through it right now, you know, on that journey, trying to find, you know, the place where I could just be. And the strangest things, you know, have happened. I've put myself in some circumstances that were, you know, not ideal, but those circumstances, you know, they taught me what I needed to learn and helped me find peace among the chaos. And so that's kind of, you know, I don't know. I feel like I'm opening up a little too much, you know. I kind of want to retreat. I want to go back into my shell, but let's keep it flowing, you know, keep it true. So what this has taught me, you know, along this journey of discovering and finding out, you know, who I am, because, you know, like I said, I never knew my parents. So for me, there's like a whole bunch of history, and it was always kind of like shrouded in mystery. Like anytime I would bring up any conversation like that, it would be like, the past is the past, leave the past in the past, you know? But the past, you know, still affects us to today, you know? Like I said, I'm from Florida, right? And so like I did some like research and looked into like the history of like where I was born and like that type of stuff. And I ended up seeing, you know what? I'm gonna put it right here. A couple of different images of, you know, the same representation, just, you know, way in the past. And so like even that like clicked and like made me realize like, oh my goodness, yeah, this stuff is still affecting us. You know, but yeah, it's what I kind of figured out was, and this is why it's important to know your history and stuff like that, is because the victor writes the story, right? So whoever wins in this battle of, you know, like, you know, dark versus light, the good versus evil, you know, it's not necessarily that cut and dry, but it's like, I'm from Florida. You know, everybody knows like the history of like the United States and all that. Florida was one of those spots that it really originally popped off, right? It's like these people came over here on these boats and everything, and then they saw this beautiful land, and you know, the natives were there already, and then they were just like, we kind of want this now, these other people, and then they were just like, all this right here, yeah, that's mine, give it to me now. And so they took the land. Not only that, they took the people and were like, y'all work for me now. And then they incorporated this whole system on top of all of us, and now we are here today dealing with the consequences. Because we did not stand up back in the day. That's why it's important to stand up and fight tyranny. All right, this is good. Here you go. Here's my stream of consciousness. Here's what we got going on. Anyway, so as I was saying, the victor writes a story, right? And based upon my research in the area I was born in, Gainesville. So they're like during like that North Florida area, they've incorporated the tribes, and I'm only specifically speaking on this because this is where I saw this symbol at. What was it called? It was Timucua. It was the Timucua people, right? And the thing is, they're like, what does that even mean? They don't know what that means. It's a word that they just threw on all these, like they said, oh, all these people look the same, you know, like they got like similar tattoos and whatnot. These are the Timucua people. And that's not really what they're actually called. And who knows what they were ever called in the first place, because, you know, like I said, the victor writes a story, which gets back to this point, right? How did they get that name Timucua, right? They got the name Timucua because they heard one chief beefing with another chief, and he was like, hey, I would like your help because he's like a Timucua or something like that. That's what he said, right? And then, like, because he was beefing and he called this other chief, that the Spaniards, again, this is my interpretation of the story. Do your own research. You know, like, it gets deep. Anyway, so they took this name and they applied it upon everybody. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, this dude who didn't like this other dude called him a name, and then now that's everybody in that region. Again, that's just my interpretation of that story. So this is why it's important to understand where you come from and know your history, and know that, you know, what they might say is right is not always right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, especially nowadays, like, look what's going on all across the globe. Like, it's getting wild out here, and it's not just now. This is, you know, been, you know, bubbling up, and it's that kind of time to, you know, choose where you stand. Are you just gonna bow down and, you know, take it, or are you gonna, you know, rise up? And because it's up to, you know, whoever's here. You know, it's up to us nowadays to determine what's gonna happen in the future. And if we just keep letting things slide, and keep letting things roll, and keep letting things go on like that, it's not going to get any better. That's what history has taught us. You know, like, my people lived just off the land. Like, we're cool. Like, we know how to make stuff. Like, take one thing, add it to another, boom. You got something new. Like, and that surrounds all of us. We don't need to go to stores and, like, the Orlando Brown clip that's going around of him, like, talking about, like, there should be grapes, like, right on the sidewalk for the homeless and all that. Yeah. Like, okay. I guess we got into this a little bit more than, you know, it's just a little freestyle thought, whatever's going on my brain right now. But yeah, that's how we feel about it. But, like, it's up to us today, like, right now. If we had seeds and we go out and we plant seeds and stuff like that, you know, that's a possibility. That's a real thing we could do. Like, we don't need to rely on anything else other than these guys right here. And not just, this is for me. You got your own, if you got your own, you know. And if you don't, then somebody else around you probably does. You could be like, hey, look, I see this, but I don't have hands. Could I borrow your hands for a second? You know, like, somebody like me. Ask me. You could borrow my hands. I kind of need them. Don't take them from me. But I feel like people aren't as bad as, you know, it's being made out to be, right? Like, I feel like there's a lot, especially if you're on the internet a lot, of like division and trying to separate everybody. But really, I feel like in this day and age, in this time, it's about coming together and, you know, creating that haven, pretty much, which is the main message of this. Reach for it. Life is just right there. You gotta think outside the box. Well, on that note, this will be today's video. TKAZOX on all streaming services. I just dropped 2 amazing bangers. Let me know what you think, okay? I got more on the way. Look, it never stops up here. So, like, it's like... we're gonna keep going. Maybe not as much with the music. We're gonna challenge ourselves in another direction, because I'm kind of getting a little complacent with my sound a little bit, admittedly. So like and subscribe for more random spontaneous content like this. And if you see me around, you know, say hi, you know, or not, you know, give me a little pshoo. I see you, boo. Now do I see you too, boo. All right, peace.